Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today we're diving into a book with a title that, let's be honest, sounds a little scammy. It's I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. Melody, when you first heard that title, what was your gut reaction?
Oh, 100%. I immediately pictured some guy in a rented Lamborghini yelling about crypto. I was expecting the usual advice. Wake up at 4 a.m., take ice baths, and never, ever buy a cup of coffee again.
Exactly, the whole hustle and suffer culture. But what's so surprising about this book and why we wanted to talk about it is that it's the complete opposite of that. It's not about deprivation at all. It's actually about enjoying your money.
Which feels revolutionary, right? The first big idea that really struck me was when Ramit forces you to define your own rich life. He doesn't just give you a one-size-fits-all definition.
That was a huge mindset shift for me because my rich life isn't about having a private jet. It's about being able to walk into a restaurant and order whatever I want without checking the prices first. It's about being able to say yes to a spontaneous trip with friends without a knot forming in my stomach.
Right. For me, it's about freedom of time. It's knowing I can take an afternoon off to go to the park with my dog, or quit a job I hate without having a panic attack about my next paycheck. It's not about buying things, it's about buying freedom.
And Ramit's point is that until you define what your rich life looks like, you're just chasing someone else's goal. You're running on a treadmill that isn't even pointed in the direction you want to go.
That's so true. It gives you a destination, which leads perfectly into his next point, which is my absolute favorite thing to rant about, the latte myth.
The stop buying coffee advice? He absolutely tears it apart, and I am here for it. He basically says that agonizing over a $5 purchase is a waste of mental energy. It's focusing on the tiny battles while losing the war.
Exactly. It's not the lattes keeping you from being wealthy. It's the fact that you haven't negotiated your salary, or you're paying high-interest debt, or you haven't started investing. Those are the big wins.
He wants you to focus on the $50,000 decisions, not the $5 ones. And he introduces this idea of money dials, which I love. The concept is to spend extravagantly on the things you truly love and cut costs mercilessly on the things you don't.
Let's get specific with that, because it's such a freeing concept. For me, a big money dial is convenience. I will happily pay for grocery delivery or hire someone to do a task I hate, like deep cleaning the house. That buys back my time and mental energy, which I value way more than the money.
That's a great one. For me, it's travel and health. I'll spend on a great gym membership or high-quality food without blinking. And like I said, I won't hesitate to book a trip to see a new place. But the flip side is just as important. I could not care less about having a fancy car. I drive a 10-year-old Honda and will probably drive it into the ground. I also rarely buy new clothes. I've cut those costs to the bone because they just don't bring me joy.
Same for me with things like the latest tech gadgets. I don't need the newest phone every year. It's about conscious, intentional trade-offs. So how do you afford those big money dial expenses? That brings us to what Ramit calls the absolute cheat code for personal finance, automation.
Yes, this is the engine that powers the whole system. His philosophy is that if you rely on willpower or motivation to save and invest, you are guaranteed to fail. Life gets in the way. You get tired, you forget.
Right. You have a bad day, and that I'll save what's left over at the end of the month plan goes right out the window with a large pizza and a shopping spree.
So his system is designed for humans. You set it up so that the moment your paycheck hits your account, it automatically gets split. A piece goes to your savings, a piece goes to your investments, a piece goes to your fixed costs like rent, and whatever is left over is yours to spend, guilt-free.
Let's talk about the practical side of that, because it can sound complicated. It's actually incredibly simple. Most employers let you split your direct deposit. So you can tell HR, send 80% of my paycheck to my checking account, 10% to this high-yield savings account, and 10% to this investment account. It's a one-time setup.
And if your employer doesn't offer that, you can just set up automatic transfers from your main checking account. The day after you get paid, schedule a transfer to savings, another to your investment brokerage. It takes maybe 15 minutes to set up for the rest of your life. It's the highest leverage financial activity you can do.
It removes you, the flawed human, from the equation. The system does the heavy lifting. But even with a system this simple, people still make excuses. We should probably tackle a few of the common ones. What's the biggest one you hear?
Oh, easily. I don't earn enough to save or invest. People think they need thousands of dollars to get started, so they just do nothing.
And Ramit's response to that is perfect. He says, the amount you start with doesn't matter as much as the habit you build. Just start. Automate $50 a month. Automate $20. The point is to build the muscle of paying yourself first. You can always increase the amount later as your income grows.
Absolutely. The other big one is fear. Investing is too risky. It's basically gambling. People are terrified of losing their money because of what they see in the headlines.
Right, but they're confusing investing with speculating. Trying to pick the next hot stock is risky, but Ramit advocates for the boring, proven method, regularly investing in low-cost, broad-market index funds. Instead of trying to find the one winning needle in the haystack, you just buy the whole haystack.
It's betting on the long-term growth of the entire economy. It's a slow, steady, and historically very reliable way to build wealth. That consistency is far more powerful than trying to time the market.
Okay, so let's connect this back to the big wins. We've talked about automating and investing, but there's another side to the equation that Ramit emphasizes a lot, which is increasing your income.
Yes, this is huge. He argues that there's a limit to how much you can cut, but there's no limit to how much you can earn. And the number one big win he focuses on is salary negotiation.
He dedicates a lot of the book to it, providing word-for-word scripts on how to research your market value, prepare your case, and actually have that conversation with your boss. A single $5,000 or $10,000 raise, when invested, can be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars over a career. That's a big win.
It completely dwarfs the impact of skipping lattes for a year. So if the system is this straightforward and the big wins are so clear, why don't more people do it? This brings up the final big psychological point he makes.
And beyond just your main salary, he talks about another big win, which is developing additional income streams, the idea of a side hustle.
And his approach isn't just go deliver for a food app. He encourages people to find a skill they already have, writing, graphic design, organizing, even dog walking, and turn it into a freelance business. It's about leveraging your existing talents to create a new income stream.
That's a critical point. Even an extra $500 a month from a side business, when automated into your investment accounts, can dramatically accelerate your wealth-building timeline. It's another way to widen the gap between your earning and spending, giving you more fuel for your rich life.
There's one more big win that people often overlook, and it's a bit more defensive. It's about optimizing your credit and fees. People leak so much money over their lifetime to high-interest debt and unnecessary banking fees.
He has a great line about this. The single most important factor for your financial life is your credit score. It affects everything from your mortgage rate to your car insurance. A few points difference can mean tens of thousands of dollars over the life of a loan. That's a huge win.
And his advice on credit cards is so counterintuitive but smart. While many financial gurus say to cut them up, he encourages using them responsibly for the rewards and protections they offer. The key is to automate your payments to pay the full balance every month, so you never pay a cent of interest.
Let's dive a little deeper into the investing side of things. We've mentioned low-cost index funds, which is the foundation, but Ramit also provides a simple portfolio allocation. He doesn't want you to just guess.
Exactly. He suggests a simple approach based on your age and risk tolerance, primarily using a mix of domestic and international stock index funds and sometimes bond funds. For example, a common suggestion is a target date fund, which automatically adjusts its mix of stocks and bonds to become more conservative as you get closer to retirement.
It's so important because it removes the guesswork and the paralysis that comes with it. He says, look, if you're in your 20s or 30s, you can afford to be aggressive because you have a long time horizon. So your portfolio might be 85 or 90% stocks. But if you're in your 50s, you'll want more in bonds to be more stable. The target date fund does all that thinking for you.
Right. He argues that most people don't fail with money because they're bad at math. They fail because they simply avoid it.
Avoidance. They don't open their credit card statements. They don't look at their bank account balance. They say, I'll start investing when I have more money or when I understand it better. They wait for the perfect time, which, of course, never comes.
It's a fear-based response. Looking at the numbers can feel like a judgment on our past choices. It's uncomfortable. I've been there, where you're almost afraid to log into your banking app.
We've all been there. But Ramit's advice is just to start, even if it's messy. Just look. You cannot improve a situation that you refuse to acknowledge. The first step to taking control is simply to look at where you are right now, without judgment.
It's such a powerful message. So, wrapping it all up, if you had to summarize the core philosophy of I Will Teach You to Be Rich, what would it be?
I'd say this book isn't about being cheap. It's about being intentional. It's about consciously designing the life you want to live and then building simple, automated systems to get your money to work for that life.
Well said. It teaches you that money isn't the ultimate goal. Money is just the tool. The goal is freedom. The goal is your rich life. And you don't need to be perfect to achieve it. You just need to start.
Absolutely. If this conversation has you thinking differently about your finances, we highly recommend picking up the book. And if it helped, share this episode with someone you think needs to hear it. Thanks for tuning in.